It is a whistle-top overview of all the work that the HEA has been doing in terms of Emma as the new CEO, all our policy work and working group activity, as well as all the events that we have delivered for you this year. So we will be going quite quickly through all the slides just to give you the best.
I just realised our times look a bit odd. I think we're half an hour out from where we are, but that's fine. The timing will still be the same. We've got an hour, haven't we? So yeah, people can see what we're going to be talking about. Okay, so you've started the recording, Liv, huh?
Yeah.
Great.
So
okay,
just pass over to you.
Perfect. Okay, well, let's kick off, and yeah, as you say, we'll share the slides, and we will have this recorded, so if anyone joins late or can't attend, then they can access all of the information. I'd love to yeah, to welcome you all to this annual update, and to thank you all for joining, and just generally to thank you all for your engagement within the last 12 months. Obviously I started here at the end of January, taking over from Celia. It's been, as Liv said, a very busy year. It's been a year where I've learned a lot about your the sector in general, where we are at this point in time, and all of your various strategies and interests in hydrogen. It's been a real privilege, I guess, to be on that journey with you all. We're going to talk through quite a number of things today, so I think let's go on to the next slide, Liv, just to keep things going. I think just as a reminder, and we very much see ourselves as a member-focused association. I think that's easy to say, and we do endeavour to be true to that phrase. And it's just a reminder of the various ways in which we look to support you all within your work in the sector, and that the priorities and I guess the weight of these different things can depend on the individual strategy of a member, but we absolutely look to help you all grow within your own development and strategies of what you're trying to achieve within the hydrogen world. That can be to connect you with fellow contacts within the sector, both within our membership and in the wider sector in general. Some members we know are really valuing that opportunity to connect and grow their own network, and where possible, if you are looking for opportunities to be connected to different people, that's definitely something we will on an ongoing basis look to facilitate. We also look to support your growth in terms of sharing opportunities of what's happening in the sector, in terms of where we see opportunities around projects, around funding opportunities, around events where you can develop your knowledge. And Liv will talk a bit about how we communicate that information, and I hope that's been a useful source for you throughout the last year. There's a strong policy focus that we have, as most of you are aware of, and there's going to be policy areas that will be of different levels of interest to different members. But we really try to make sure that wherever there's a consultation or an area that's coming from government where we think it will impact some or all of our members, that we're on top of that, and we use our trusted sector voice as a means to communicate on behalf of you all what we see as maybe barriers or opportunities for the sector. So I'd like to thank you all for your active participation when we have looked to gather consultation responses. We'll go through them, and Lucy, who as you know, is new to our team and has really, I guess, got in the deep end in terms of diving into a very busy policy space. We'll talk around that later in the meeting. Let's move on to the next slide, Liv. I'd just like to just provide you all with an overview of what the membership looks like currently. I think it's not always obvious, I guess, to every individual member who they're sitting in the same space with. So it's always helpful, I think, to show this slide just to give you an insight into how our membership looks like, how we span the supply chain, both in terms of those producing hydrogen in various different ways, those supporting its transportation and storage. I think the very important role played by those supplying materials, components, testing systems and instrumentation, and a quite wide variety of those providing supporting services into the sector. I'm also really pleased that we have such a large representation coming from our academic sector as well. It feels to me very valuable that both industry can see what the insights that university teams are developing, and also our academic members can have the opportunity to share those insights with our industrial and commercial members. If you feel that your logo is not in the right place within this diagram, do let us know. I realise that some people can sit in one or more places within this. We try to use this as a means just to show the span of the representation of our members. But if you have any concerns about where your logo is sitting, or any ideas about how we can represent your role within the sector, do reach out. And this is not a set in stone diagram. I'd also like to welcome all of the new members that have joined us during 2025. We've been really privileged to have a very wide range of members coming from across the sector joining our organisation. We're very grateful for both the support of existing members, but especially when we bring new members on, it's great to have you as part of this collective. We have looked to streamline and improve our onboarding session or mechanism as people join, to make sure that you have access to all the information, that we promote to you as a new member in an appropriate way, and we give you the opportunity to engage with other members, but as always open to any suggestions as to how we can improve that. Okay, next slide.
Emma, if we're okay, if people don't mind, I'm brave enough to turn their cameras on, it'd be great if we could just take a screenshot of all of us on the call today, just for us to promote the webinar and the annual update on our social media. So those brave ones that have already turned them on, that's super helpful. Thank you.
I love that we have this purple llamas coming, one of our members. It's kind of for one of the note takers. But anyway, that's a nice touch.
Okay, great. We're slowly coming on. I'll just wait a few minutes just in terms of turn it into a large gallery mode. Okay, great. And if we can look as happy as happy as can be, that'd be super great. So 1, 2, 3. HEA.
Thanks, smiles. Love that. Thank you, guys.
And I will share the screen again.
Lovely. Thank you, everyone, for that. Right, let's skip forward. Okay, so I think, again, just as a reminder, in the same way to remind you of our members, just an overview of who we are as a team. And I guess starting from the top, I'm not sure if she's in the call today, but I'd really like to thank Amanda in particular as our chair, one of our directors. And I've known Amanda for a long time, but I've never spoken to her so much as in the last year, where she's been a real support for me. It's when you're in such a role as this one, it's sometimes difficult to brainstorm with yourself. So on a weekly basis, I do pick Amanda's brains and get her insights as someone that has, spent a long time working in this sector, and just having that opportunity to engage with her has been really appreciated. I'd also really like to thank the team that we have here today. Lucy, as mentioned, has recently joined us. She's, really made a great impact in a very short period of time. So Lucy, it's a real pleasure to have you and have you engaging both with our working groups in the policy space, and I really welcome you into the association. Olivia, all of you will know.
Have we just lost Emma?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, great. I'll just pick up whilst Emma comes back. I think she was about to introduce me, but yes, obviously, me and the team, I support on member events and member comms. Oh, Emma, are you back? Okay. I would just take this opportunity to thank all our executive members, as many of you. Are you back, Emma?
I am. Can you hear me?
Okay, yeah, we can.
I'm so
Yeah.
sorry about that. I didn't realize I was unable to be seen. So yes, thank you
Just
for
talking about the exec.
stepping in. Yeah, so thank you, yes, very much to our exec committee, again, providing guidance, support where needed, stepping in to represent us in many areas. So and I didn't I think I was halfway through thanking you, Liv and Matilda, for your contributions, as well as the team at Satsuma. But I think together we, you know, both with the executive committee as well, it's been a really great support mechanism for myself and making sure our organisation works. So so thank you all. Okay, sorry about that. Let's go to next slide. It's been a real bonus for me when I've been able to get out and meet with our members. It's something that I've really tried to put effort into doing, both to be visible in the sector, but most importantly to meet with members, to understand what they're doing, to see technology and innovation in action. And I'd really welcome the opportunity to continue to do this in 26. So if you do have any events, or if you're willing to welcome me to your site and see what you're doing, that would be really appreciated. And I'll probably post it on LinkedIn if you're happy with that as well. So visibility is I think good for us all. Okay, the other thing we talked about policy. It's been a real focus for us. I think building on the contacts and the legacy of Celia, it's been great to be building those connections within the policy teams, both in DESNA's, Department for Business and Trade, and Department for Transport, and being able to engage up to the ministerial level has been a real privilege. And I'm quite heartened by having met Minister Shanks with his enthusiasm towards the sector. I think it feels like we have an important ambassador for hydrogen in this place, and we will build on that relationship with him in the coming months. Okay, next slide. Again, I've really tried to take the opportunity to be visible, both for my own education and listening ear into the sector, also to represent yourselves as an association and who we are and what we do. So it's been quite a busy time. I've really tried to be out in the world, and this just gives you an insight into some of the events where either myself, or in some cases members of our executive committee, have been able to represent the HEA. And again, I really thank the committee for where they've been able to step in and fly the flag for the association. If there's events where you feel we should be present and we're not, do let me know. It's trying to mix events that are hydrogen driven, where we're speaking to the sector, but also more external events where we can be the hydrogen voice, perhaps in a wider energy or transport setting. Okay, and I'm now going to move on to Lucy. Lucy, go ahead.
Thank you. Yeah, great. So I'm just going to give you a bit of an overview of the policy shaping activities that have been going on behalf of the HEA this year. So this is some of a selection of our consultations and reports from the first half of the year. We've got a wide range of different reports that we've published, and just to pick out one on this slide, the consultation response about the climate change levy for electrolytic hydrogen has recently come back. So good to see that there's been progress made on that, and the electrolytic hydrogen methods have been made exempt from the climate change levy, which is great progress to see. But yeah, a really sort of broad range of activities across working groups and different policy areas. If you could go to the next slide, thank you. And again, this is a continuation just to show the breadth, and similarly to how the previous one has come back, we've recently seen the 100% hydrogen pipeline networks receive a response from government. So we're in the process of formulating how well our asks were matched in the response from government. Similarly, the land transport sector has seen lots of progress, and we're currently writing a report to consolidate on that and to be more specific about our asks and convey a sense of urgency for hydrogen being valued in that sector. And also just to highlight the low carbon ammonia part of the hydrogen derivatives working group. So we sent a cross-industry open letter to government and are formulating further responses to that in our working groups. As mentioned, here are all of our selection of different working groups. So it's been a real pleasure to meet all of you and get engaged with working groups in my first month or so in the role. And so far we've made lots of progress, even in a short space of time. So the low carbon hydrogen production group, which is chaired by Fred Sene of Air Products, we're looking to formulate our strategy for the next year, which should be happening in a meeting in January. So hope to see lots of you there. For the hydrogen derivatives group, we had a webinar on SAF in October and have scheduled an ammonia safety webinar in January. So this one is very active and good to see lots of engagement here. For the nuclear enabled hydrogen working group, we have an upcoming workshop with a delegation from Korea, and this is going to be taking place next Monday, and it's going to be a conversation all about how we can bring forward international collaboration in the space. So excited for that one, and following up with some activities around Nuclear Week in Parliament, which is in the 3rd week of January. Moving on to the Planning for Hydrogen Projects group, we have had some engagement with the Environment Agency and the National Physical Laboratory. There was a workshop on hydrogen standards, which was great to be a part of. And we're planning a series of webinars in the new year, probably in February and March, for in association with the planning advisory services to sort of convey the hydrogen space to local planners and enable that collaboration. The hydrogen refueling infrastructure and the hydrogen powered transport groups have been working in close collaboration. There's been some engagement recently to create a report on land transport and how we can take that forward. And as Emma mentioned, there was a recent event showcasing 5 hydrogen firsts in the rail sector. So great to see lots of movement there. And the penultimate working group is the hydrogen transportation and storage. We have an upcoming strategy workshop next week with our new chair, Keith Croysdale of Luxfer. So if anyone's interested in joining that, we would love to see you there. And finally, our Comms for Hydrogen working group, which is aiming to take all of the key messages across the working groups and all of our policy activities and increase the visibility and refine the messaging of those. And we had a meeting earlier this week where we were looking at our comms approach for the State of the Hydrogen Nation survey launch, an accompanying document, the Hydrogen 101 for MPs, to sort of convey to them the urgency and the size of the opportunity for hydrogen. And we will be also formulating our response for the upcoming and highly anticipated hydrogen strategy. So if you would like to be added to any of the working groups, if you have an interest in any of them, please reach out to me and I can get you added to those and give you some information about upcoming events.
Okay, so I'd just like to move on to the State of the Hydrogen Nation and thank all of you who were able to complete the survey. So as you will be aware, because I think we communicated quite heavily on this, this is a piece of work that we felt was important just to understand the voice and the feelings of the sector at this point in time. And I think it's fair to reflect on some of the challenges as a sector that we've seen within the last year. We wanted to really test the temperature of not just how our members, but the wider sector are feeling in terms of their confidence in where we are now, but also their outlook as to how they feel the opportunities around investments, the confidence in policy measures and opportunities for growth may change between now and the near future. So we pulled together this survey. Again, 140 respondents responses were received. We were really pleased with that, and many of you took part in it, and we really appreciate your support. But it did go beyond our membership, and I think it's given us enough responses to feel that we can confidently pull together some conclusions as to what the sector is feeling right now. We see this report, which will culminate from the results of the survey, as being a tool, not just for the sector, not just for us in terms of our policy shaping, but also as a helpful steer for government. So we are very much engaging, particularly with DESNZ on this. We were able to give some insights on the initial findings from the report when I met with Minister Shanks. And that was just about the time when the report was closing. And we've dug in a bit more to the details of that. And what you can see here on the screen is some of the initial responses. And you can see that there is from what we can see in the responses, an interest and a willingness to invest, but it's coupled with the need for policy certainty and for a feeling that there's a confidence in the sector. It seems to me that we've been waiting for various things in the last 12 months. You know, there's been slower movement from government on various topics, and I think that has caused some difficulties and some challenges. I think the other observation I see for many of the milestone projects is it's very difficult to be a first mover. It does take time, and while we see that government generally has support, the mechanism of government can be slow in terms of providing the support to bring these projects over the line. So these are the initial thoughts and perspectives that we have shared with government. The detailed report will really dig into that in, as I say, much more detail with insights and policy recommendations. We will keep you as our members updated with that as we look to develop the final version of this report and then launch it on the 27th of January. That will be a parliamentary event. We've shared details with you. I hope many of you will be able to attend. And if you haven't responded, to say if you're available to join, then do respond to Olivia to register your place, because there's a limited amount of space that we have in the room, and we want as many of you as possible to be there. Yeah, I think that's maybe I just reference briefly the Hydrogen 101 that was mentioned by Lucy. It's an output from our comms working group, and it's something that we will also be publishing and making available at this launch event. The 101 is a document that will give a helpful summary of the opportunities around hydrogen, really tailored for MPs. We will be inviting, and we encourage you, and we'll send details on how to engage with your MP to see if they can attend this event. And for those that attend and those that we communicate to, we can share this 101 document so they have at their fingertips a clear summary around the opportunities for hydrogen, and that should hopefully help mobilise their interests and support towards the sector. Next slide, Liv.
The only thing I would just like to add here, Emma, is just confirm this morning, we'd like to thank our two co-sponsors for this event. So it's Luxfer gas cylinders and Chesterfield special cylinders as well. So just to thank you for their support in the parliamentary launch as well.
Very much so. Thank you, Liv. Lucy, do you want to say some words on our upcoming and much anticipated strategy that we're still looking for from government?
Yeah, so eagerly anticipated, and we hope to be as strategic as possible with our response to this. We were speaking about this earlier in the week in our comms working group, so thank you everyone for your feedback here. But we're going to be comparing our top asks to government with what we receive from government, and making sure that we're clear on where we are happy and where we are maybe less happy with how things have gone. Hopefully it'll be more of the former, but we want to make sure we're representing your views as much as possible. So we're going to be making sure that the top asks that have been fed through from all of you throughout the year are represented in our response to this. And we plan to host a sort of emergency meeting once the strategy has been released with our comms working group to gather feedback and to make sure our message is consolidated well. So yes, that is on our update plan.
Amazing, thanks, Lucy and Emma. I'm just going to come in on the update side of things, particularly summarising kind of the key HEA events that we've done in 2025. Many of you have attended lots of these events. Some are in person, and then we have lots of a busy webinar schedule as well, both in terms of member insights, engagement with international markets, for example, with Germany and Brazil just this autumn, and then obviously the Hydrogen Bites initiative, where it's a public webinar, but it's an opportunity for members to showcase their activity, and it's really well attended and has been really well received. And there is a schedule for next year, so do get in touch if you would like to feature on the Hydrogen Bites. And then just to touch on the in-person events that we've done this year, different events have different objectives. Some very much feed into the policy shaping activity that and political engagement that Emma and Lucy have already summarised earlier on in this update. But also other events have slightly different focuses. So, for example, earlier on in the year, you will remember that we joined together in Bradford to engage with local authorities. So that was really around in growing our outreach with key sector growth stakeholders that don't sit within the hydrogen inner circle, and that is seen as a key priority for us. So it was really great to come together with local authorities. Obviously, building demand being such a key so important for the sector, a key growth driver. So our launch of the action plan was well attended across all government departments, and was very much being fed into the outstanding recommendations, which admittedly many are still outstanding, as Lucy said, will be compared kind of with the hydrogen strategy update, and as we expect for that to be more demand flavoured. And then across a range of other activities in terms of across transport innovation, and then also engaging internationally as well. So I will just move on. So overseas market priorities, this list has come out of the State of the Hydrogen Nation survey. So it's not just member overseas priorities, but the sector as a whole. So we do welcome you to continue to inform us, perhaps just in the chat, if you'd just like to summarise your top 3 priority markets, or if you prefer to drop me a line just after this update, then please do, because I think unsurprisingly, Germany is at the top, and then other key European markets following behind, but keen to gain clarity to what extent are kind of key Asian markets like India and China, whether you see them more in the top 1, 2, 3, or whether their position is reflected of your international strategies. And then just this table next to it, reflects kind of some of the suggested activity that the HEA has planned for next year. Kind of over the last couple of years, we've made sure that we're present at the key international events, particularly High Evolution in Paris, World Hydrogen Summit in the Netherlands, and the H2 Expo in Hamburg. It is worth saying that this kind of Hamburg this year, and then kind of Paris High Evolution next year, we have seen a change in just the level of ambition and a level of investment into these overseas events. So, for example, at the High Evolution in Paris next year, there won't be a UK pavilion, whereas in previous years, we've worked with the EIC on this, and this was just due to a lack of uptake from industry. So really keen to make sure that our resource into the overseas markets is as targeted as possible. Emma has attended the World Hydrogen Summit this year, and will look to attend and speak next year as well. I think we shared a panel this year as well, Emma. And there is a small UK pavilion there, but perhaps that is the event where we channel most of our resource, but recognising that the UK pavilion in previous years, which I think had been led by DBT, is really quite small in comparison to other overseas markets. So please do get in touch, and please do put up your market priorities in the chat as well, just to continue informing our strategy. And yes, So just kind of to highlight, obviously, our annual conference from this year. It was a really great event and is the flagship event that we hold in central London to maximise political and policymaker engagement. But it brings together a much wider base, not just the members, but also other key players in industry and other key stakeholders like the finance community, for example. So a big thanks to all our sponsors and exhibitors this year for making this event happen, and a truly successful event, both in terms of thought leadership and insights into the sector activity, but also networking opportunities. And as some of you will have already seen, if you're extra on top of your inboxes, we have just launched the 2026 annual conference for next year. So it's going to be in the summer, on the 8th and the 9th of July. It's changing venue, so we're still staying in central London, but at the IET Savoy Place. So please do get in touch if you're looking to maximise your company's visibility at this key UK hydrogen event, both in terms of exhibition, which the exhibition and all the networking happens in the same space. So it's a really busy exhibition hall, and then obviously speaking opportunities through the key sponsorships. And it's worth saying that the way that the conference agenda has been just extra emphasis on end users. So the sessions have been re-themed basically to expand the number of end users and kind of to reflect the extent of hydrogen's applications. So just moving on to member updates, we have fine-tuned this throughout this year, and we have received good feedback in terms of the changes, but definitely do get in touch if you've got other ideas or you'd like to see other things that aren't quite reflected here. So Emma's does a regular CEO update, which provides political and policy updates, both kind of sector-wide and also reflected in what the HEA activity is then, where Emma has been and who she's been visiting in the space, and also new members. So we do share a list of members in this CEO update, which does kind of link to the industry showcase as well. So do look out for that if you are wanting kind of the most up-to-date list, because it is an evolving picture. And then member opportunities, focusing lots on funding opportunities, industry event opportunities, lots of opportunity for collaboration and speaking as well. And then the weekly news roundup, it is worth saying that this is sent via email to members, but also circulated on our LinkedIn as well, but very much tried to amplify member news in that weekly roundup as well. So I'll pass it over to Satsuma for the comms update. I think we're okay for time, so.
Yeah, thank you. So this is just a snapshot of the social media stats for the last year. So we're really happy with the amount of new followers. And you can see there how many people are seeing the posts. So yeah, great progress this year on social media. Next slide, please. So this is a list of the top performing posts. And I think what's interesting here is that a lot of member news are very well received on social media. Project Map is always a favorite in terms of the impressions that it gets and people seeing it. So people are really interested in what HEA are doing, but also what the members are doing. So yeah, a nice blend of different topics that do well. Next slide, please. So on to media coverage. This is some highlights from the last quarter, and you'll see a mix of national media and trade media. What's interesting about that is and we can see on the next slide actually, is the readership figures for some of these more niche trade press. So this is just similar to the social media. It's a breakdown of the most viewed articles where we were mentioned. They're a blend of press releases that we send out, And you can see, again, it shows the mix of actual news. So where we've commented and been part of larger press releases from DESNZ, for example, and member news too. The case studies that, and thank you for this, for sharing your case studies of projects and innovations. They go down really well because it's news and something new for people to learn about. Next slide, please. So this is just to show that we amplify member news and it does go down really well. So on LinkedIn, we engage with your posts and help boost that visibility. We also on social media focus on member news. So all your updates and launches and milestones obviously go down really well. Press releases. So we do various press releases throughout the year. And what works really well is that when you're as members involved and you can have your say within those press releases in the form of case studies or comments. And so thank you for everyone who's given quotes on insights in the last year. And just going back to the case studies, these are really useful for press releases, social media, but also for sharing with DESNZ. And once we get a case study, we can use it in various forms of communication. So yes, please share your news with us. There's our email address there, it's on the website. And if your press teams or yourself would like to share it, that would be very well received. Liv, would you like to talk about the brand visibility, or do you want me to?
So as Claire's just summarised, kind of on the Satsuma side in terms of how they amplify your news, but in terms of internally how the HEA support to increase your brand visibility. Obviously, there's the industry showcase, which is a filterable resource on our website that has all the company profiles of our members and is very much used for other stakeholders that are kind of not in the membership to understand different people's capabilities and products and services. And we really recommend members to kind of use the industry showcase in combination with the list of members as well, because the HEA is very much happy to facilitate introductions, not just kind of have your brand visible on that resource, but very much the more you use it, the more useful that it could be. As I mentioned earlier, the Hydrogen Bite series is the public webinar series and is a really great way to showcase members, and we can share the attendee list with you as well, so you can follow up with potential partners or customers that come to those webinars. And then, as Emma said, she does an amazing job to represent the sector across so many events throughout the year, and all our promotional materials have your logos on, and Emma does her best to really highlight the breadth of your activity and what you're all doing. So just to make you aware of that kind of visibility component. And then obviously kind of not just the HEA flagship event, the conference, but also partner quite collaboratively across hydrogen, other events, other hydrogen flavoured events, but also within the new sector to receive kind of discounted opportunities for you to be involved in those events as well. So just to make you aware of those additional services that we offer. And then just coming on to give you a peek into what's in the calendar for next year. Obviously, the kind of key January event is the State of the Hydrogen Nation parliamentary launch. But even prior to that, there's various working group meetings that Lucy's already mentioned in the nuclear enabled group and the derivatives group scheduled for January. Hydrogen Bites, we already have Emerson scheduled for January, and there is a February slot, so please do get in touch if you have resource and are ready to promote yourselves kind of in the February slot. And then also kind of key other policy shaping on the horizon, kind of post the hydrogen strategy update. We expect half free market engagement and also consultation on the clean industry bonus, but obviously kind of policy shaping on the horizon. it's kind of a reactive space. So Lucy is looking out for that post, the hydrogen strategy update, or in the hydrogen strategy update. And then kind of a member insights webinar with the low carbon contracts company is upcoming in the early part of next year. And Lucy's doing a series of kind of engaging on hydrogen with the planning community as well, which is across 5 weeks. I'm not sure how many sessions that is, Lucy, but
5 sessions, 1 a week.
5 sessions. Great. And then just kind of moving into kind of Q1 and Q2, Close Brothers and Vanguard Sustainable Transport Solutions scheduled for Hydrogen Bites, and then kind of consultation on hydrogen propulsion manufacturing will be integrated into the Transport Working Group. And then the other kind of key in-person events that are on the horizon is a defence hydrogen demand event with the Association Team Defence and also the department, the Ministry of Defence as well. And then also looking to do a Meet the Specifier showcase, recognising the breadth of supply chain that we represent within the HEA membership that really does make us unique, and working with the project developers that sit within our membership as well. So those 2 in-person events are in conception, but please do get in touch if there's obviously a real range of ideas of possible events here in terms of to make sure that we're being as strategic as possible and providing the most member value at each given moment. Please do get in touch if you have other ideas of kind of key events that you think would be particularly useful in the first half of next year, and we can look to integrate those into our activity as well. So Emma, we've actually done really quite amazingly to whistle through that, because
Yeah, we have.
So
We were
have
worried
got
about
15
going over
minutes to
time, but
spare.
I think we've covered everything. Yeah.
Exactly. So
Yeah. So I think, yeah, sort of final reflection from my side, hopefully I won't disappear this time, is again just to thank you all for your active engagement, for your support, and for just sharing your ideas and perspectives, and we really hope that you find this as a space where you are able to do that, and any suggestions about what we can do better, what more we could do, and what would really help you in your strategy, opportunities to come and visit you, and see what you're up to, and help to promote that. We're absolutely open to all of those activities, and I think that's what makes us an active and engaged association. It's really the joint participation between our central team and yourselves in terms of driving forward. As you see, it's going to be a very busy start to the new year. We'll see. We may expect the government's refresh strategy to come imminently, so before we disappear for Christmas. I think that's still possible, or we anticipate that coming early in the new year. And I think from that strategy, a number of other policy initiatives, as we've laid out, will closely follow. So we'll definitely keep an eye on that. And the State of the Hydrogen Nation, I think, will be a great enabling tool to support us representing your views, and also engaging into government and make sure they are readily received. We have a bit more time, so we can either give you 15 minutes back in your day, but if anyone just wants to share any observations or has any questions at this time, feel free to write in the chat or raise your hands, or to reach out to us outside of this meeting. Yeah, okay, one question coming. Thank you, Clive. Yes, will we be reading the strategy over a turkey? I'm not sure, Clive, to answer this. Is when we've spoken to DESNZ, and I don't think I'm giving away any secrets here, it feels to me like the strategy is written and the aim of the policy team is to release it into the world. So I think there's an imperative on their side to just get this strategy out there, because it's kind of like a set of buses, isn't it? All these other engagements and policy drivers will follow after that. So I feel there's been an ongoing intention to try and have this released before Christmas. Whether practically there's space in the parliamentary diary and how they organise these types of releases is unclear to me and maybe unclear even to many stakeholders in government. So so it's possible with this might come on the 24th of December, and indeed that's our reading matter for the holidays. Or if not, I guess we can hopefully anticipate an early new year release on this. So yeah, I guess we just watch this space. But thanks for the question. Any other perspectives? Okay, if not, I'd really like to thank you all for the engagement. I'd like to thank again my my lovely team and the team at Satsuma, as well as the executive committee who've guided us all in the last 12 months, and we really look forward to further engagement in 2026. And do reach out at any time for sharing any views. And thank you so much. Cheers, everybody.
Thanks, everyone. Oh, we've got a question from Tony. He wants to come in. We
Hi,
won't
Tony.
disappear, Tony.
Okay.
Thanks.